Amazon apparently at one point willing to show on its bills to people what tariffs were costing. Exactly what happened remains a little bit unclear. Donald Trump seems to have been outraged, called Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos says, well, we're definitely not doing that. Kind of problem solved from the Trump point of view. But it's a kind of reminder, you had CBS 60 Minutes effectively criticizing its owner the other day. We've seen other news organizations bend the knee. We've seen tech bros bend the knee. It's been quite astonishing to witness what I suspect all three of us would call the political or the moral cowardice of so many business leaders. I've found that very, very disillusioning. And I wanted to throw one other thing in there because it just interests me on a whole bunch of levels. Have you guys searched whether your books have been put into the Meta AI machine? Have you Atlantic for that?
Yeah, mine have been.
Yeah, mine too. Anushka, have you looked about whether your book has been input in Meta? Okay. For anyone who's listening to this doesn't know what the heck we're talking about, Atlantic Monthly have come up with a database where you can put your name into it and search whether Meta has taken your work without permission and just put it into their AI training machine. For one, I would bet a lot of money, Anushka, that your book is in there. And I found that bewildering and bemusing and kind of outrageous. Somebody can just take your work. And I kind of thought, okay, this is interesting. And it's to the point you've both made where governments, our government, certainly in the American government, is sort of rolling out the red carpet for the tech bros in every conceivable way. And I wondered, Anushka, you go first, but I wonder what you both made of it.
Well, I mean, I think what I made of it is similar to what you have from the start, which is they all just think that he is too powerful in a way to do anything, to stand up to him on any of these particular situations. Although in a way, whether or not Amazon put the price of tariffs into goods, I think people are starting to understand increasingly where, there is an impact on the price of goods as a result of tariffs. And already in America, inflation is not in a place that Donald Trump would like it to be. And people are noticing that in the shops and in these sort of organizations. But I think at the moment they're too worried about the influence of Trump and the influence of his base, which remains, by the way, both very, very active on all social media sites and very, very, his base, I'm talking about here, not all the people who voted for Trump, very loyal to Trump.
Robert.
Look, you have to assume that there's at least a degree of buyer's remorse among these astonishingly wealthy business people who've either collaborated or appeased Trump. I mean, Elon Musk, world's richest man, his fortune is down by a third, right? As a direct result of Trump's tariffs. I mean, this is, tens and tens and tens of billions of personal wealth wiped out as a result of the way that he has essentially underpinned the Trump chaos. But there's sort of two things. One is I do slightly want to ask you, Tom, where you've been the last few years, that you're sort of surprised that, Meta has inputted into their, without asking you or me, they've inputted into their AI database books. I mean, the least surprising thing when I looked at, when I looked at the database was that that is what these tech businesses do. They push it, they basically infringe our rights until they get caught out, and then they sort of say sorry and find another way to essentially steal our data. I just think the lesson here for any government is, yes, we need these businesses to create wealth, but equally, you've just got to be utterly robust when it comes to, protecting, in many cases, basic human rights, not just commercial rights. There's a second point, though, which I just thought I'd share with you, because one of the things that I was more surprised by the extent to which these incredibly wealthy people sucked up to him from the moment that he was elected, and that just spectacle at the inauguration of them all, essentially paying homage in his court. And I asked somebody who is absolutely at the heart of Silicon Valley about all of this. And I said, why are people like Mark Zuckerberg kowtowing to Trump? And the reply was, because they think if they don't, I said, actually, I put it differently. I said, why are they so frightened of him? And this person said, because they fear that if they don't suck up to him, that Trump will put them in prison. I said, really? This is nuts, isn't it? He said, no, just look at it. There are all sorts of, cases he can bring against their companies. He's complained about them forever. It's not just about them, him being able to damage them economically. I mean, I'm not making this up. And, that is a real fear that he would incarcerate these people.